Yo, what's up? This is Prevail. You see in my face right now, you must be watching MV Remix. Yeah, yeah, Swollen Members in the place to be.
Piano. All right, so what I was wondering was, why just a one Vancouver date?
Well, the reason for that is, one trick that we've learned in the music industry is anticipation and the element of surprise. So
Okay.
I think even for myself, when people originally started asking me a couple months ago, when Swollen plays in Van again, when the album drops, where you guys going to try to gig? And my automatic reaction is to say the Commodore, because there's 1,000 people, it's
Yeah.
an amazing venue, and it's just blessed with great vibes, great energy in that building. I've never seen a bad show at the Commie. So, that's kind of where my line of thought was. And then I saw on the schedule that we were playing the Red Room, and I didn't even know where it was because it's changed names quite a few times over the years. I remember it as something else. But when I got in there last night, I was floored, man. Like, we've been selling a lot of merch, but I've never seen, I haven't seen that many people rocking Support Swollen shirts unless it was a video shoot and we made them wear them,
Yeah.
It was, can I swear?
Oh, go ahead.
It was fucking awesome last night, man. The energy was awesome. And I don't know how many people they crammed in there, but it was probably like 350, 400. They definitely pushed the limit. And because of that, that 400 people next time will generate the amount of buzz that it will take to be able to go back and rock the Commodore. Not like I didn't have a great time at the Red Room, but you understand the goals and
The science
aspirations
as well.
have to move up, right?
Yeah.
Eventually I'll be pointing down the street to GM Place,
Yeah.
and we'll be doing this interview before that gig,
BC
right?
place as well.
Word.
One thing that I did notice was you had to a couple of times sort of try and calm down people in the crowd because they were getting too rowdy. There were a couple of fights breaking out. Do you find that actually happens at a lot of your shows?
Yes.
That people get very involved? Have there been any sort of instances where you've seen it go way too far?
Well, there's always a point where security should also step in and do their job, and I think the separation between the artist and the audience at a certain point needs to be clear. But I think it's, in my experience so far, it's been successful just with your presence alone. You're on the stage, you're hovering, you move in on and to try to break something up, and the people automatically go, hey man, fucking calm down, like it's the dude from the show, like chill out, like we're all here to have a good time. But sometimes those people have legitimate beef, which is more than just, hey, you stepped on my toe during the show. Those are the things where you hear the chatter of 6 months ago that's like, yo, security, you guys do your thing and let these guys hash it out on their own. But yeah, it's been effective so far, and I think it's kind of unique actually. I've never really seen too many other people do that, and it's something that I think has prevented a lot of things that could have happened that didn't.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, it's been really well documented, the stuff that's gone on with Madchilds over the past few years and stuff. And I was wondering how that has impacted you, and the fact that, have you ever had sort of a point where you've said, okay, this is too much, I've got to go solo, I've got my audience as well, and maybe thought about branching out on your own because it got too great? Or?
There were definitely times where it wasn't so much me looking at pursuing a solo career. It was more whether or not there was going to be a group, period. Yeah, there were, for sure, it was a couple years. There were some days that were pretty tough. What a rook. There were some days that were pretty tough, for sure. But we fought through it, and we stuck together as a family, and Matt pulled through. It was never a question of whether he would, it was just when he wanted to. And that was his own personal journey to go on, but for sure it affected Rob and I and his family and other friends.
How was it with regarding music? Because you were saying that you'd built up a big arsenal of songs, and that period would have been a period where he would have been having his problems as well. Did that affect the way the music was being made, or?
It was interesting. I will say. okay, I describe sometimes how Matt and I's verses work together, in that Mad's verses are like a cinema. His movies are his rhymes are like film. He knows exactly how he wants the scene to go. He knows how he wants it to look. He knows what gate he wants it to be shot at. All that stuff. My verses are more like reading a book. You could read the same passage 30 seconds prior, or 30 seconds later after having just read it, and it will have a completely different connotation and meaning. That's the way my delivery is. I know the words that I want to say, but I don't know how they're each going to fall upon each other every time. In saying that, this round, for a certain part of it, when the drugs were really affecting him, was the first time I'd ever seen him in our career and our friendship together not be able to get the shot that he wanted.
Mm-hmm. With those songs recorded then versus sort of the period where he's off of it, do you notice a difference in the actual material?
Man, the creativity that he brought back with him from that journey was crazy. You know, the last 3 months of recording, he just turned it into overdrive. And it's not to say that he wasn't killing it and murdering it before that. It was just more sporadic and a little more selective. This time around, the last couple of months, like I said, he just every day stacks and stacks and stacks and stacks of rhymes, just ready to go and rip. And it was an awesome, awesome energy to finish the album on.
And sort of going back to what we began with, your live show is extremely energetic, and I've seen you 3 or 4 times, and I've seen that show. Who inspired that? Because you don't see too many hip-hop shows with that much enthusiasm and energy.
Thank you for saying that. Matt and I grew up in different places, but he grew up listening to punk rock. I grew up listening to heavy metal. And I always loved, one of my favorite groups still to this day is AC/DC. And I love their live show as a spectacle. And that's to me, and Matt of course carried over the Black Flag, DRI, Circle Jerks, kind of Sex Pistols energy. Just that rowdiness. And that's quite unique, I think. I think we both had those arenas of energy from that music that we were, grew up on. And when we started rapping, it just made natural sense for us to, transfer that energy into a hip-hop show. Because I've been to lots of hip-hop shows, man, and fuck me, some of them are boring as fucking all get out. Like, I love the album, but fucking do something. Like, you're saying get hype, go get crazy, fucking why are you guys just standing around? You stood in the same spot for 20 fucking minutes. Like, yeah, you're a dope lyricist, but fucking give me something to do, man. So I don't like that, so I don't do that.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sort of going from that, will we see more energetic material and hype songs on Beautiful Death Machine? How's that shaping up?
Well, Beautiful Death Machine is going to be a very finely crafted album because we're obviously taking our leisurely time with it. The energy on Armed to the Teeth just took such a rejuvenating turn when Trey Nice came into the fold, and because of that, Armed to the Teeth just took on a whole new energy. And Madchilds and I want to get back to Beautiful Death Machine with, I think, more of a balanced Bad Dreams, Black Magic frame of mind. And really try to revisit that signature Swollen Members sound and its purity on the next disc.
Cool. Now I've got this joke question which I always ask in my interviews. And remember, it's a joke question. So, a la Fight Club, if you could fight any celebrity, who would you fight? Now, I've had answers from Gary Coleman to George Bush. So the first celebrity that Prevail thinks he would like to fight, who would that be?
Rush Limbaugh.
Rush Limbaugh. Why, and would you win?
Why? Because about 10 years ago, we went to Washington, D.C. and went to the White House, and he was just coming out of a meeting. And it was right when he had said something completely offensive and ridiculous about hip-hop. And I thought, if I could do something to offend this guy somehow publicly right now with all these people around, maybe it would help, characterize my name. And then I thought about spending years and years underneath the White House in some dingy ass stinking cell by myself, and I thought twice about it. So I want revenge on his fat ass. I'm going to get him.
Brilliant.
And I'd beat him just because I'm way fucking tougher.
And now, just any last words that you'd have to your fans that are going to be watching this?
Yo,